built his career in telecommunications and cellular smart grid industries, leading teams that designed and deployed over $1 billion of sophisticated technology infrastructure. He's now the co-founder and CEO of Plenty, an indoor farming company that aims to deliver locally grown and fresh produce, eliminating the downsides of conventional agriculture. Next, we'll hear from Sam O'Gannon, who's the second-generation owner of Bi-Rite Market and the founder of the Bi-Rite family of businesses here in San Francisco, which includes Bi-Rite Creamery, 18 Reasons, and Bi-Rite Farms. And third, Katina and Kyle Connaughton are a married team who've been together since they were 15, and together created Single Thread Farms. Katina is a California native who explored the world growing food in such disparate places as a rural community in Hokkaido, Japan, and a Victorian estate property in England before returning to California to complete coursework in sustainable agriculture and horticulture. Katina currently heads Single Thread Farms' 5-acre property in Napa, leading the greenhouses, heirloom orchards, beehives, and livestock, as well as the foraging program and floral department. And Kyle Connaughton's culinary career spans from Spago in Beverly Hills to cooking in Japan for Michel Bras, and so much more. He was head chef of research and development for the Fat Duck Experimental Kitchen and contributor to Modernist Cuisine. I'm skipping several amazing things. In 2014, Kyle co-founded the culinary development firm Pilot R&D, and of course in 2016 founded Single Thread Farms restaurant and inn with Katina Connaughton. So we would give them a round of applause.
So Matt Barnard, Plenty, and I want to talk to you a little bit about what we're doing and why. You know, it's been fun for me and extremely compelling to listen to people like Anthony and Lauren and Alice and their efforts to drive a food system that is more perpetual and more sustainable and more nutritious all at the same time. And so what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about is what we're doing towards those same ends. We're doing it in a slightly different way. I'm honored to be part of this group that's all working towards these goals. So you see a picture there on the right-hand side. That's a nearly 20-foot tall of leafy greens. If any of you ate some of that mustardy, spicy blend up there, you tasted some of our team's work. But that's what we do. We've brought the farm inside. So we've developed a series of technologies to bring the farm inside. And the reason why is particularly around nutrient-rich food. So nutrient-rich food is primarily the fruits and vegetables of the world. They grow best in a few places in the world. And those are Mediterranean climates. We happen to be in and around one of them right now. So there are 5 of them in the world. And so that's part of California. It's part of central Chile. It's part of the Cape of South Africa, and this map actually overstates it, right? We had to enlarge the region so you could kind of see what you're looking at. Some horns over there in Australia, the actual Mediterranean. But a Mediterranean acre, when it comes to fruits and vegetables are finicky, they're picky, they're not very efficient from a photosynthetic perspective. And so a Mediterranean acre produces 6 to 15 times more fruits and vegetables per year than any other arable acre on the planet. I'm not cheating. There are no rocks and ice or anything else in that calculation. Relative to arable acres, it's 6 to 15 times more. Like I grew up on a farm in Wisconsin. It was a commercial fruit farm. We grew apples and tart cherries. We couldn't grow sweet cherries. We couldn't grow sweet stone fruit. We couldn't grow tomatoes. We couldn't grow pretty much anything else commercially. And those cherries, you're not going to find many people buying tart cherries in the store because they prefer the sweet ones. So we were extremely limited in what we could grow. And that business actually is no longer in business because of how difficult it is to run a fruit and vegetable business in any place that's not a Mediterranean climate. So what we are doing is is creating acres that are even more productive than that and growing fruits and vegetables that are quite intensely flavored and delicious. Because as we talk about a perpetual and sustainable food system, there's that Mediterranean climate that I talked about. That's why California is growing more tomatoes than any country in the world, more strawberries than any country in the world, more stone fruit, and it goes on, garlic. I could keep going down the list. But because fruits and vegetables grow so efficiently in these places, we are shipping water in the form of fruits and vegetables, lettuce heads and strawberries and tomatoes all over the planet. And we're putting thousands of food miles literally on these crops. So in the United States, you've got over 2,000 food miles and growing. The number's growing year over year right now. We're up to almost 2,500 now food miles per fruit and vegetable. It was about 1,000 a few decades ago, and now it just keeps rising. So that is not carbon efficient. It's not great for the planet. And also it doesn't make food very delicious to sit in trucks and warehouses and be refrigerated for days, weeks, and months before it gets to a person. And the months is a real thing. If you eat a plenty carrot, for example, you'll be like, oh, not this crowd. But most crowds, you'd be like, oh, I didn't know a carrot could taste like that. It's because it hasn't been, in a cold storage facility for 3 months. So the problem is there aren't Mediterranean acres left at the scale we need to serve the gap between what people are consuming and what we need. If you look at what Harvard and generally the nutritionist community, what they say about what is a healthy diet, people are consuming a fraction of what is considered to be healthy. So in America has one of the highest consumption rates per person of fruit and veg in the world. It's not the highest, but one of the highest. And we're still only eating half of what is considered to be a healthy diet in the United States of America. So it's a nutrient poor diet that we are eating. Calorie rich and nutrient poor. So here, where we're eating more than most, we're still not anywhere close to where we need to be from a nutritional perspective. And so if you think about 7.5 billion people in the world and the United States only having 4% of those 7.5 billion people, there's a lot of fruit and veg to grow in the world. And so at Plenty, our mission is around human health, and it's around planet health. And we believe that in order to drive both better human health and better planet health, you have to make food craveable. You have to make the nutrient-rich foods, the fruits and vegetables of the world, craveable, and that's everywhere. In addition to the craveable food that you all in this room are making, the food in the grocery stores also needs to be craveable so that nutrient-rich fruits and vegetables can compete with all the dead stuff in the middle of the store. Because the high-calorie, low-nutrient diet, that is the kind of the tragedy of our time, if you will, because it's what's driving obesity, it's what's driving diabetes. And so what we are working to do is to make fruits and vegetables craveable so that they can compete, again, with all that dead stuff, the prepackaged, the highly processed flours, highly refined sugars, those kinds of things. So we focus on craveable flavor, making those available everywhere we possibly can. We're in an early stage of our journey, so we have a lot of work to do, and we believe that's the way to get to better human health. Some cool things that are happening are that when people are surveyed around the world and here in America, what you see is people are increasing the amounts of fruits and vegetables in their diet. However, they say that the thing that keeps them from eating more is, in fact, flavor. It's taste. And that's one of the reasons why we're focused on making these things craveable. I covered this already. High calories, low nutrient. And so we're going for high nutrient, moderate calorie. That's the diet that we're working to make true. And if you look, there's this evolution of diets or a dietary progression that people go through. It's income driven. And so what you see is Cereals and carbohydrates is the first dietary phase. This is, generally speaking, what's true around the world. And roughly 10% of the world's population is eating a predominantly cereals and carbohydrate-driven diet. The predominant diet in the world is the industrial non-perishable diet. That's what most people in the world are eating today. It is the industrial farming of the land, which we've been talking about all day today. The industrial farming of the land in the way that it is mostly done is not great for human health, nor is it great for planetary health. But that is the diet that drives obesity, that drives diabetes. We're talking about overweight plus obese in America being now well over 70%. I was in Egypt a few weeks ago, higher than America. You've got parts of the Middle East now that are 60% obesity rates, not overweight, but obesity rates. And so this diet is a scourge, and so we need to beat it back. Beyond that, you go to the fresh perishable diet, and that is still calorie dense, but a little bit more nutrient rich. And what we are, the thing that's relatively priceless, because again, if you remember that map of where the Mediterranean climates are, I'll go back to that for a second because I want to point something out. There are 4 billion people who live here. 4 billion on this part of the planet. Look how many Mediterranean climates there are. 0. There's one here. There's less than 1 billion there. But all the population growth is here. And you've got thousands of food miles no matter where you go on the planet, except for Mediterranean climates. And so that is one of the things that we're working to help combat and fix. This is what we want to make true. So where it doesn't matter where you live, you can have fresh, local, craveable fruits and vegetables all year long to drive a high nutrient, moderate calorie diet, no matter who you are. And so we do something it makes it Plenteous a very fun place to work. The farm that I grew up on, we didn't do sensory testing ever, at least not in the way we do it at Plenty. In part because we didn't hold very many of the levers. And at Plenty, what's fun, something that drives flavor, for example, is climate. And so we spend great efforts to control climate in such a way that these plants can be craveable, whether it's a strawberry or a tomato or no matter what it is. But we have our software engineers, and we have our product development team, and we have our farm operations team and our engineering team. And you put all of these teams together along with data science and plant science and flavor science, and you end up with foods that are just craveable, and people saying things like, oh my gosh, I don't even eat kale because I don't like it, but I love this thing. You call it something else. Or I didn't know tomatoes could taste like this, or that's a carrot, or gosh, I want to eat strawberries every day now, or I'll buy every strawberry you ever grow. It's now that we have this flywheel spinning of being able to control all of these levers that make these plants craveable. It makes it very fun and quite delicious. So craveable flavor. Shelf life is another thing to help drive accessibility for people, because the lower the income, people just don't buy perishable product at anywhere near the same rate if they run the risk of having to throw it away. And so, Chris did a good job earlier articulating some of the food waste problems in the world. Here in America, depending on whose numbers we're looking at, if you go from the field to the home, anywhere from 52 to 69% of what is grown in the field in fruit and veg gets thrown away. 52 to 69%, somewhere in that range. It's high. I've never seen a number lower than 52 in a full systems analysis. That's how much gets thrown away. And so as incomes become more limited, people just aren't going to spend their money on perishability. And there's some cool work done where they said to folks on food stamps here in America, hey, if that goes bad within a week, we'll replace it, no questions asked. And the percentage of their cart that was fruit and veg popped from about 0 to 10% just by taking perishability out of the purchase consideration. And so we're getting days to weeks of additional shelf life, literally weeks plural, because of the way we grow, and that we're pushing the growing of the food to where the people are, and eliminating steps like bleach wash and saline wash, which in the United States and most countries of the world, anything that's on the grocery store shelf has been washed in either bleach or saline. But because now how we control the field itself can now be food safe certified, and we don't have to wash in bleach and saline. You get more shelf life. So that's what one of our fields looks like. It's visually quite beautiful and stunning. You know, you get fields that are anywhere from 13 to almost 20 feet tall, and the next field we build actually is going to be even taller than that. But this is rich, dense plant life that grows just this craveable, nutritious food. That's what we do. So, thank you.
Thank you.